We are diving in this week in a fantastic conversation with Dan Pittman from DRB, talking about all the great things that they're doing and that they're working on. You're going to find out here that they are launching, or have launched rather, a platform that gets to the heart of what I talk about all the time on this program, which is helping people follow that customer journey throughout its entirety. So from before they get to your wash, to when they're on site at your wash, to continuing that relationship above and beyond while they're away from your wash, getting them to come back and drive that traffic to your location. So we're going to have that conversation, but really quickly first, folks, I want to say, you got to get registered for the car wash show in Las Vegas. All right. So here's the deal. I know you guys, right? You're all used to like showing up at the show. You kind of mill around. You're hanging out in the lobby area. You go over, you get registered, you fill out the forms, you do all the things. You can't do that this year, guys. Okay. So we got to make sure we get registered ahead of time. Otherwise, you're going to be standing outside the convention center, on your device here, and you're going to be like, boop, 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 to get registered. So take care of that stuff. Get your hotel booked. Make sure that you don't have anything else to worry about when you show up at the show, because we're ready to have a good time. So that's my my news and notes for you this week. Let's get into this, shall we? Because I think this is going to be a great conversation. We've got a great video to share that DRB put together for us, and then a fantastic conversation with Dan Pittman following that. So friends, get your feet off the brakes, put that sucker in neutral, and let's go.
For over a third of a century, DRB has been helping entrepreneurs realize the American dream of running and growing a business. With our support, car washes have limited weather impacts with unlimited wash plans, improved customer experiences with advanced technology, and tapped hidden growth potential within the data. Our goal is simple. We want to help all car washers squeeze every bit of profitability out of their investment. And today, under a single master brand, DRB Tunnel Solutions, think DRB Systems, DRB In-Bay Solutions, think Unitech, and Suds continue that tradition. With the same pioneering spirit that has driven us from the beginning, we help car washes maximize production and revenue while navigating new challenges such as ever-increasing competition, consolidation, and rising consumer expectations. You may be wondering, what does DRB stand for? Well, it's simple. D stands for Data Insights and Solutions. DRB's advanced technology gives car washes access to data to inform business decisions, and Suds turns that data into dollars with revenue optimization strategies designed to drive maximum ROI. R stands for Reliable, Intuitive Software and Hardware Solutions. Our innovations are constantly pushing the industry forward. Using ongoing UX and UI studies to inform our development, we're rolling out the next generation of POS solutions. And B stands for Best in Class Team. Our commitment to the car wash industry is evident in every interaction operators and distributors have with our staff. From our long tenured sales experts through our highly vetted technical support team and beyond. Our humble, hungry, and smart culture means we work together to go the extra mile. As industry experts, we know some of the things you're facing. Increased demand to find good employees, fast-moving technology, competition, consolidation. To help you navigate this, we know you need something more than just a POS system, but a full technology solution to run your business. Enter Pathion, our new technology platform that combines a powerful point-of-sale system with business tools like analytics, dashboards, marketing, and workforce management. Pathion was built with modern hybrid cloud architecture, combining the best of an on-premise technology solution and the power of a cloud-based solution. This keeps your sites operational during internet outages, enables fast deployments, easy integration, great data collection and analysis, and allows for native remote access from anywhere. When you combine Pathion's cutting-edge integrated business solutions with Suds marketing expertise and proven methodologies, the future is limitless. We're passionate about car wash success, and we want to cultivate unprecedented growth with each one of our customers and the car wash industry.
right, so that was a great video, just giving us a little bit of a look about DRB, kind of behind the brand and what they're all about. Now joining us on the show is Dan Pittman. Dan, welcome.
Hey, great to be here, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Hey, it was a great video. We're going to dive into some of that in just a minute here. I appreciate the acronym. I'm a sucker for a good acronym, you know, keep it simple, stupid, all those kinds of things. The DRB acronym is great. We're going to get into that, and we're going to talk more about behind the DRB brand in just a moment. But before we go there, Dan, can you just kind of give us your 30-second version of how you got here? What got you into car washing?
Well, I'm very blessed. I had a great journey getting here and really enjoying it while I'm here. You know, I'm from this area originally, so this was kind of a homecoming for me here in Akron, Ohio. When I started out, I went to college in southern Tennessee, and then I was in the agriculture industry for just a few years, and that was an unbelievable experience working with America's farmers and agriculture cooperative, an incredible leadership crucible, if you will, some really interesting stress under harvest seasons, things like that. It was just a great experience. From there, I was in the steel industry for 10 years. I kind of grew up in steel and then into technology. So 10 years at Diebold, I ran their global service operations planning for their field service organization globally. And then I started working with some PE companies on some turnaround opportunities. And then this amazing opportunity came up. Just like a lot of people that get in the industry, you hear an opportunity in car wash, you wonder what it is. And I'm really thankful I took that call. I've been here for 6.5 years. It's the most fun I've ever had. And I've always said I'd love to retire from the car wash industry because the industry itself is great because it's growing, but the people are absolutely fantastic. So just happy to be here. It's been a great journey here at DRB.
Well, it's not a bad time to be in this industry, that's for sure. And you all have done some pretty amazing things at DRB over the course of that 6 or 7 year period here. Let's talk a little bit about how this landscape is changing and what DRB is kind of doing with that, right? So right now, competition is hot. People are kind of going all over the place and trying to figure out how are they going to differentiate. And part of that and how we do that is going to come back to data. And let's talk a little bit about why, and set the stage here, why is kind of getting yourself ready to be data-driven important right now? Like, what does that do for us?
Look, we make a lot of decisions every day on how we're going to spend money. So it really becomes a matter of the best investment you can make. You know, our purpose statement here at DRB is we sweat your assets. Our goal is to really get as much out of your site or sites as we can possibly get. So we think the best way to do that is to be data-driven. And let me give you a little history. We started years ago really driving recurring membership plans. So we've been working with 25 million consumers. 25 million. That's how many fast pass tags are out there. And so we've been building this data set. So we really think it makes sense for us to leverage that and then partner with the car wash operator with some of their information. And we can bring incredible insights to drive traffic, because having a great car wash is very, very important, but everybody wants to drive traffic. We can prove that data, a lot of it, our data pools are growing, data lakes are growing. A lot of it can actually predictively drive traffic. So you're investing in consumer flow, if you will.
Yeah.
So we have spent the last 3 years investing a lot in our customer's customer, which we call the consumer. Mm-hmm. And we've leveraged that, 20 years of data along with what we're gaining now with SUD, what we have in SiteWatch, what we have in Pathion. And that's the reason I think it makes sense to be data driven, because it's the best way to get, maybe not guarantee, but predict your ability to draw consumers to your site. And at the right time, I can give examples of how we do that.
Well, and okay, so it's one thing to have the data. It's another thing to figure out what to do with it, right? So for those of us who don't have a data analyst anywhere near us, how does that how do you figure out what to do with it? What do you do with all those numbers?
Yeah, so we've hired people like you just mentioned now. So we've got data scientists and a behavioral economist, and so we've invested in those pieces of our organization because most car washers can't. We also have the largest pool of information and knowledge. But we also, Matt, buy quite a bit of data. So when you think about psychographic data or demographic data, we buy that when we're playing in certain places with our consumers, and we mix that data to get insights. So now you've got billions of data points. And so now if you want to predict who within 6.5 minutes of your car wash has the most high likelihood we can give you great predictability who the best consumer is for you to have come and be a monthly plan member. We will find them. And that's all through the data. And that's through dozens of different demographic points that we can use, combined with how we define in our data lakes what a perfect customer is or what an ideal customer is. And then we can bring back a prediction to say, hey, this is how many ideal customers you have. And if we run these three campaigns, we'll have take rates of this much. And then now you can get into the world of geofencing, or maybe it's an older population and you want to mail mailers to those folks. We can then use the data to actually how we go after those ideal consumers as well. And we do that with a lot of predictability.
Yeah, and I think the key thing there that you mentioned is that we're not just leveraging data that is in our little car wash bubble, right? Like we're pulling purchase history kind of information, all of these kinds of online behavior and interactions and what's going on to create a really comprehensive profile of that consumer, right? I mean, and that's the power.
Yeah, and that consumer can be looked at as aggregate or as an individual. I think a lot of our competitors spend a lot of time looking at traffic patterns, just traffic patterns going back and forth. We're actually looking at individual humans or phones and where they begin their day and where they end their day and where they're at work during the day and where the traffic is. You get into what side of the road they are in, what time of day, types of things like that. Now you can really begin to leverage predictability. Just to put it in a nutshell, we find Mrs. Smith, who owns 2 cars and owns her house. She's 6 minutes from a car wash, and she's open to subscription type things. She's on Facebook. We're going to filter when we geofence, and we're going to get a free car wash there. When she comes in, we know it's missing. We know why we want her. So that the POS system through this whole ecosystem got that code to her, and when she comes in, we know what she's there for. We know what we're going to sell her, and additionally, if she leaves, we know if she's a member or she's not, and we have a plan for her either way. So those types of things, when you have enriched data, allows you to do that.
Yeah, it's super powerful stuff. And I think that if you as an owner or operator are not ready for this, you need to be ready, like, I don't know, a year ago, because it's coming and it's coming fast. And it really is going to be a thing that can set you apart or leave you in the dust when it comes to how you compete with other washes in the area.
And the beauty, Matt, is we know that through data, we know that car washers create demand. That's why you see oftentimes there'll be some within close proximity, and they're both doing really well, even though they're competing.
Yeah.
So, we can even take that into effect from a data perspective. How to compete in your environment and be specific to your traffic, what time of day people are there, and everything else. So again, we can help folks really understand the spot they're in and how to best thrive in that location and what's going on around them.
That's awesome. Well, okay, so that leads to the next obvious thing, right? Like, it's one thing to have the data, it's another thing to analyze the data. But then you need a platform. Like, you have to execute on it, and it really stinks if, like, the only way you can do anything with that is like importing something from over here and pushing that over here, then having to import it here. Pathion is the thing, right? That's your all's newest kind of child. Tell us a little bit more about Pathion.
Well, first of all, it's a platform that was born really a few years ago. At the same time, we decided we were going to really become the steward of the consumer for the space that we play in, and we're going to be thought leaders in the data space. We also knew at the same time we needed to take a technological leap. DRB has been a technology leader for a couple decades, and we really aren't just re-platforming the last platform. We're really creating a user experience from the ground up. And what's interesting in our industry, that platform isn't just it's not just a user interface for our customers, the car wash operator. It's a consumer interface too, because that example with Mrs. Smith I just gave you. So what we've really done with Pathion is really encompassed the whole ecosystem. So now if you have the information, you have the data, thinking of the future, and the flexibility to know that it's Mrs. Smith that actually showed up at the car wash and what you're going to do, you want flexibility. You want the ability to change a workflow for Mrs. Smith, to change a screen flow for Mrs. Smith. So now with the platform of the future, which, by the way, we've got it out there plentifully at sites, it's doing very, very well, the ability to manage workflow, to manage prices, to have dynamic prices, to interact with consumers in different ways, to the data that we're talking about that today we're manually or through brute force getting, to actually collect data from the consumer, interact in a way that's building a data set for the next experience. So Mrs. Smith comes back the second time. Mrs. Smith, it's been you've been here. We want to give you a free tire shine. That type of experience is how Pathion is built to do the same thing, not just from a point of sale, but from a workflow and the ability to do that. And you said that now you have the data, now you have the analysis, now you have to execute, if you will.
Yeah.
You need the platform. And we have tools out there today that even in our SiteWatch platform, we have the ability, we'll be showing you at the car wash actually, the ability for operation excellence is actually just unbelievable. The ability to execute what the scripts that you have to use, how you talk to people. Are you running? So now you've got Mrs. Smith coming in, you've got a busy Saturday. Is your belt running at the right speed? Are you tracking the right things? Are people paying attention to the right things? So the ability for every employee potentially have, not just a checklist, but a KPI for how things are going, what they need to pay attention to. So those of our customers that are familiar with StatWatch, this is really the operational excellence version of that to really help them have insights. And what's the right number of people to be? What's the right speed for the belt? When is it going to get busy today, most likely, based on statistics? Those types of things, the interaction of the consumer data, all the way down through, no pileups, optimizing it. So again, we're trying to create an ecosystem.
Yeah.
That Pathion becomes really the parent. That they're our new child, but the parent platform where all those things begin to integrate more. But they're powerful tools today, but Pathion brings it together.
Well, it's what we talk about all the time in the marketing space. Is like you have to have that customer journey, and that you have to go through that life cycle, and you have to keep in contact with them and messaging to them both before they get to the site, while they're at the site, but most importantly when they leave the site, when they're off and they're not thinking about you.
So imagine, Matt, if you would, a data lake that's got an AI engine on top of it. That once Mrs. Smith has become, I can't wait to meet Mrs. Smith. Once Mrs. Smith becomes the consumer and she's a member, imagine if we had 20 or 25 data points among the millions that we're watching, and when 12 or 13 of them check from Mrs. Smith, she crosses a line statistically to be more likely to churn. And we have the ability to stream her messages through that AI tool. Okay. Now imagine if it's actually here, because we'll be showing it to you at the car wash. It's really amazing technology. We've got again, it's those data folks have really just continued to leverage about how can we use the data, And one of the things we can do is predict churn. And if we can predict it, why wouldn't we do something and start sending text messages, things like that? So that's really the stewardship of the consumer. Once you have them, you want to keep them.
Well, okay, so it's out in the wild. We can see it if we're at the car wash show in Las Vegas, so that's super exciting. I'll stop by for sure because I've been thinking about this kind of stuff for a long time. So I'm excited to see this kind of coming into the industry because we've been a little behind for a while, but that's okay. We're growing. Everything's growing. We're progressing everywhere. The data though with you all and what you guys do at DRB. There's operational components to this too, right? And that's helped driving some of this operational excellence initiative for you. Can you talk a little bit more about that for me?
Yeah. Well, first of all, there is some rubber meets the road here because a lot of our customers, they perform the best in these areas when they have somebody manning a kiosk and things like that. So you want scripts and you want those. So we can provide the scripts that again statistically know will be very, very successful. But you want employees to be doing certain things. I mean, it comes down to the very basic things, right? What time, how much of the time are they actually spending at the kiosk talking to people? But it's also really important, a lot of times they're not running their conveyor speed at the right speed. Wouldn't it be great if you had a flag to say, hey, you're really busy, you might want to speed your conveyor up? A manager that's not there on the Saturday, the busy day, he isn't going to know that. Imagine if there's 5 or 6 things that you need to make sure get checked every day before you open your site.
Yep.
Imagine having both those things, and along with the main KPIs for consumer performance on whoever you want its phone, to where something's out of whack, something needs alerted. Who actually completed the checklist? Are we in a good place to start today? So really, what we found is there's basic blocking and tackling that needs to happen at the car wash. It also needs to happen to give them a clean, dry car.
Yeah.
And so those are the types of things that we're all trying to put in one place that like this is the place where you take care of the consumer. You make money with your consumer. You know how you're doing with the consumer. You're getting through as many consumers as you can. So again, part of the ecosystem is a feedback channel now for the car wash operator, for the manager, and maybe even down to the loader and the greeter and those types of things. Have a couple tools where they know they're off to a good start. They're doing these things and they can track it throughout the day in a really simple way. So we'll have some cool demos on this.
Yeah, the fewer systems you have to log into and navigate on a given day, the better.
And visibility. So data is never valuable without insight. So this tool, we think, is an operator's insight into the health of how the day is going for both his employees, but also for his consumers.
We could talk about what data does for us all day long, but I'm going to let you get back to it here in just a couple. I got a couple more questions I want to make sure I ask you.
Sure.
I lied. I have 3 more questions. I got to ask you about site selection, right? Because that's one of the hardest things to figure out. You got to get a good location if you're going to get into this industry and do it right. Data helps. You guys have a lot of data, and you're helping people find the right sites. How's that work?
Yeah, talk to us about SiteSeer. It's a tool that we have. So I mentioned earlier, Matt, in this discussion about not about traffic volume. I mean, to some extent it is, but it's about what big box stores are nearby, which ones people stop at and stay at, which days of the week they stay at, where they drive from home, where they drive to work, start point, end point. So we've gotten enormously more detailed. It's not really traffic; it's really consumer patterns that we're looking at very, very deeply. So we have a tool that we've developed. Again, you'll be able to see it at the show or talk to folks about it, where we actually do an analysis of a lot of those demographics that we talked about, a lot of the traffic, and then we can give you some predictors for what's going on out there. And we've got some customers that have really begun to use it as the gold standard to say, hey, this is a really good site, because you can pick a really high traffic, but if it's at the wrong time of the road, at the wrong time of the day, or you're at the end point, you're too close, they want to get home versus they're going to work and you're in the middle, those types of things are very important. So what we do is we give confidence intervals. And look, if we give you a certain rating, we will sign up for a certain number of consumers when you get rolling. So, we put our money where our mouth is.
Yep.
But it's really a great tool for understanding the site. Property, with real estate in the last 2 years, it's just skyrocketed, especially in the last year. Those decisions are very, very important. Of course, from an ingress and egress and how to make the flow, those decisions are really important. Well, so we think that there's still more to learn. But imagine, I've been talking to you about the thousands of data points, or millions of data points. We actually have a tool that we've honed just to focus on the site and the site health. And so we're happy to have those discussions with folks to make them feel it. And also, understand what kind of volume could be going through their tunnel one day.
Yeah.
So, maybe you want to increase the investment a little bit more because we make you even more confident about your investment just based on data. We won't tell you stories about the data, but we'll show you what the data portrays or portraits.
Oh man, that's fascinating. That's really awesome. All right, so a lot of advancement in the last several years. You all obviously you just launched a new platform. You've been doing a lot of development, a lot of new things. In general, what do you like? What's next? Where's DRB going? What does the future look like?
That's a lot of fun to talk about, Matt. Well, first of all, the future is good. The car park or the amount of cars in the out there are growing dramatically, and EVs, or electric vehicles, will need to be cleaned as well. I think there's a tremendous future for us around. For instance, there's a massive infrastructure. I'm gonna go like 10 years out, and I'll come back. Okay?
All right.
So 10 years out, one of the biggest infrastructure issues that I think is going to happen in coming years is charging and things like that. Well, car washes have a lot of power; they have a lot of electricity. So I think there's some interesting things in the future when we have self-driving cars, which I think we'll get here, but I think it's way further out than we think. But when we do get there, just like you put your kids, you give them a bath and you put them down to rest. I think your cars will need a bath, they'll need charged, and so we're actually investing in some really cool thinking as far as how that goes and how to take care of that consumer as best as we can. It's really exciting. We'll call it the non-dreamer or the nearer future. I think what's going to be fascinating is the optimization of the car wash and the ability to get every car out of every roller spot. We've invested a lot of that in no pileups. And now the technology I've talked to you about is starting to link together. Yep. So the ability to optimize every piece or every spot on the conveyor, I think that's going to be, again, increase and get better. Then the consumer experience is going to be very, very powerful in how we interact with them and how we interact with other retailers that exist in the ecosystem. And then I think, most importantly, the seamlessness of it. We've got patents on some really cool technology around identifying cars and knowing who they are, not just with the phone, and making it seamless and identifying, pulling them into the car wash off. Look, there's no reason that really in the not too distant future, a couple of years, imagine your system plugged into the weather and the specials at your car wash change because of the weather.
Yeah. Automatically.
Dynamic pricing. So understand, Pathion is built for dynamic pricing to take inputs from other places. So we're building that now. Those are just some of the things that I think from the consumer experience, seamless, but also a little more seamless from the system's perspective for the car wash operator too.
I love that. Well, before I let you get back to the business of, washing cars, finding data, building data lakes, bridging all those lakes, I want to know what's one thing that I could do today to be better tomorrow.
Well, let's link it to our conversation, and let's link it to the conversation to keep a general theme, and then let's have a little fun. The first thing I would be is don't be afraid of data. When you see the output, a lot of folks are concerned that they don't want to talk to the guy on the phone with the data scientist. What our data scientists do is they tell you what's going on in your business and what it could be. It's actually really, really basic when it comes down to it. That, look, if these things are happening, would you agree that if we do these things could happen? And then let's try it for a while and let's measure it. Those are the conversations. We've had some people that are like, you know what, I can do what I've been doing for a long time. And if it's working for you, great. But don't be afraid of it. It doesn't require anything but a conversation with one of our team members to kind of understand some of the data and what it's screaming at us, because we can combine it with some other data sources. So the first thing would be jump in. We mentioned data lake. Jump into the data lake. Go for it. And probably the most important thing would be that you could do today to get better tomorrow is find somebody to show a lot of compassion to, care for them, and then it's and then just communicate with people and be open and honest with people. I think that in this rushed environment we're in, as this industry is growing so fast, we kind of forget just to care about people. Find somebody to care about, especially on your team at your car wash. Walk around, and you can change somebody's week, month, year, and maybe life, depending on what the conversation's about, by just showing some compassion on folks. That's
my favorite. That's my favorite, Dan. I mean, seriously, as much as we talk about data, we are still humans, and we do live and breathe, and we do need to care for one another.
Our job is to use data to make our customers, the team members here, our customers and their teams and their consumers better, and have a great experience. That's what it's all about, man.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, hey, Dan, thanks for being on the show today. We're going to see you in less than a month at this point in Las Vegas. I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, likewise. Look forward to it. Getting the car wash band back together in a big way. Looking forward to it. Thanks so much for your time today as well, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, if you guys are watching at home and you want to get more stories like this, more great inspiration, more great ideas, you want to just learn more about what everybody else in this industry is up to, you know where to do that. That's at carwashmagazine.com. You can subscribe to our podcast as well. Make sure you check that out at carwashthepodcast.com or wherever you're consuming that content. And friends, until next time, there's just one thing you've got to do, and that is keep it clean.
I'm just having a good day, having a good day.